All right. Welcome, everybody. Ged,
Yep.
welcome as usual.
It's good to be
How's
here.
it going? How are you?
I gotta tell you, I
You well
started watching
rested?
this. Yeah, I definitely feel much better rested. Probably still gonna yawn through it, but
Yeah.
powered through these in the last couple days, and I'm pumped to have this
Pumped.
conversation and probably piss someone else off because I don't know the real Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we'll see how this goes.
yeah. I've
um,
definitely got some questions for you on this one for sure.
all right. So we are talking Tales of the Jedi, which was the new kind of
Mm-hmm.
shorts
Mm-hmm.
series. Done primarily by Dave Filoni, and some interesting things, some interesting concepts. But
Yep.
I think for me, there's a lot of controversy. I don't know if I'm the only one who has some of these feelings or not.
Yeah.
But I think I haven't read any other reviews or breakdowns, but I've seen like thumbnails or like high level posts, and it seems like a lot of people are really loving
Yeah.
this Tales of the Jedi.
And I have a
So
question for you about these.
yeah.
About the format. You're a guy who gets into shorts. You do long stuff for your page, for your page. You do short stuff.
Yep.
Forget the content itself for a minute. How did you feel about a 6 episode, 15-minute an episode quick digestion?
I don't like it.
Really? That is not what I thought you were going to say at all. Shit.
I'm old school. Like nowadays people consume stuff like attention span short. They need their quick hitters, right?
Yep.
I'm someone, if I'm sitting down and I want to enjoy something, I want it to have. I'm trying to think about how I want to say this without you coming back with a sexual innuendo against me.
Can happen.
So I won't use the word long. I want it to be,
Girthy.
I want there to be some decent substance there. Like I want
Yeah,
some
that's
build
fair.
up and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Whereas, like, we talk about Andor a lot. I feel Andor's kind of hit the sweet spot. The last few episodes of Andor, I think the last like 4 or 5 have all been 50 minutes or longer. Like for me, that's the sweet spot for a TV show. I know the animated
Fair.
stuff typically isn't that long, but like an episode of the Clone Wars might be, with commercials off, it's like what, 21 minutes, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But typically there's very few standalones. It might be a 3-episode arc, which gets you up to that 50, 60-minute, area to tell their full story.
Fair, but you must also be forthcoming with the fact that you have subconscious bias on this.
Yeah.
So just like for example, I love both. Yeah. I liked what they did with this in terms of, hey, we want to tell a story. Here's snippets. I like that they went high level.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
Me wanting more.
Yeah, no, I do agree. It's nice to just fill in little gaps and tell little stories. I get that, but like, as far as, let me rephrase it this way: if they announce season 2 of this and season 2 of other shows, this will be farther down my list of anticipate. This will be like, obviously, all Star Wars is a day one watch for me, but it's not one I'm like chomping at the bit. Like I can't wait to see this 10 minutes short.
What if they choose different characters? Like I got to tell you, I went into this series really excited to learn about one character, and I came out really pumped and intrigued about a different character. And for 6 episodes in 10, 12 minutes, we can talk about it obviously a bit more in depth. That to me was mind-boggling, because I went in being like, oh my God, like Ahsoka Tano is such a, like, I'm such a huge Ahsoka Tano fan. And I left going, can I please have a Count Dooku origin movie? Like,
yeah,
which was wild because it was not what I expected at all.
So see, I was the opposite. Going in, I felt I didn't need more Ahsoka. I was excited for the Count Dooku stuff because it was going to be Count Dooku as a Jedi. And there is some parts I really didn't like, and it actually centers around the Dooku story.
And I want to talk about that because you said there's some inaccuracies, right? So there's something
not necessarily inaccuracies. It did not hit for me at all.
I thought you had a quote to me that's not how that happened. There's a death, and you're like, that is not how that happened. Did you not say that to me the other night?
I don't know. So let me just explain. So,
all right.
So Dooku, you know, had his fall. And I love that. I love seeing the little snippets of he's disillusioned with the Jedi Council, right? In the ways of the Jedi, but he's not evil. Like he's out there just trying to do good. He's doing good in his own way.
Yep.
And I think they make, again, this is the hard part of 10, 12-minute stories. We don't get the full story to see. We obviously know he falls to the dark side, but to go from those first 2 episodes we get him in, which is great. I love seeing that and the buildup. You can tell where he's going. He almost sounds, they're doing a good impersonation of Christopher Lee's voice, but he almost sounds like depressed. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't sound happy.
Without hope.
Yeah. And like, and I think it's not a coincidence either. That first episode and like even the first 2 are really gray. You know what I mean? Like the colors and everything they use. It's just a really bit of a downer for Dooku. And I was loving it. I love the portrayal of him. I enjoyed all that. My problem is when Yaddle comes into the picture.
Okay, good. So Yaddle, I have only ever seen in one scene in one part of a movie.
Yeah. So when I made, my Obi-Wan short, that's been my most successful video I put together.
Yeah, it's got 1 or 2 views. Yep.
I had to research, okay, which Jedis could possibly still be alive, right? Like I went through every Jedi we did not see die on screen. When I went to like Wikipedia and dove into Yaddle back then, and again, Wikipedia is probably updated now. You probably can't even see the old listing for it. But it more or less just said she left the Jedi Council sometime after episode 1. Like there was literally no story. So
interesting.
So what happened to Yaddle was always somewhat of a mystery. People watching this later or watching it now, if there was EU books on Yaddle and what happened to her, I'd love to know because I didn't think there was. So when I saw her history was pretty much blank and she left the council after episode 1, I didn't include her in that Obi-Wan short because I didn't view her. This isn't a Jedi that Obi-Wan's sending, the message out to, right?
Yep.
So that's my mindset going in. So part of what bothers me is, so for one, and this is like, I love Dave Filoni. You and me both love Dave Filoni.
Yep.
I love that sometimes that he's trying to fill in these gaps. I just don't love this particular gap he decided to fill. One thing
I will say though about Yaddle is I think they did a really good job portraying what a great
100%.
Jedi master she was. I
thought Bryce Dallas Howard did a great job voicing her as well.
Oh, is that Bryce Dallas Howard?
Yeah.
I mean, I love
her voice work was good. I don't know if she's done voice work before, but I thought she was spot on.
Yep. I loved her character. I liked Yaddle character.
Yeah, like they fill in the blanks. They showed Dooku going in to erase the Camino.
Right. I didn't realize the time frame there. I didn't realize that was happening. Like I always thought that when Obi-Wan discovers it's been erased, that it was like from decades before.
Yeah.
And it's not.
And that was actually my biggest shock too, was not only that, but it was like Dooku was still a Jedi walking around when Qui-Gon gets killed. Like he's still an active Jedi. I didn't realize
I did not know
those
that
timelines were so tight together. I thought he had left.
Agreed.
Like Phantom Menace timeline before that, I thought he had already been gone. Yeah.
Yeah, and even in the movie, they talk about Master Tyrannus and Master Sci-Fi Diaz and all these like pseudonyms that he uses, all these alter egos. Like I thought this was 50, 40, 30 years beforehand, and it's like happening in real time.
Yeah. Now, mind you, there is a bit of a time jump, obviously, between episode 1 and 2, given Anakin become a boy to a teenager. But yeah, like it was a lot closer than what I actually thought.
I agree.
So let's get back. So I thought like that stuff's good, like fill in the gaps. Did I need to see him like erase the clone stuff? Like, I don't know if it was needed, but it was kind of cool to see.
I liked it.
It's answering a mystery from Star Wars.
I agree.
Now, so here's my problem with Yaddle and the whole Sith, the whole Dooku encounter. And I know probably a lot of people love it, but just hear me out.
Okay.
Number 1. Yaddle follows him, she's suspicious, get it all. She could obviously see he's troubled. And we see Dooku's kind of pissed that Mace Windu got the open seat and not potentially him. Right? So
that's right. Because he says, "Did you know?" Like, no, I just
Yeah.
found it.
So it tells me she's mad more at the council and the way they rule, not necessarily individual Jedis.
Fair.
So Dooku confronts Sidious and he's upset, right? He's upset. Like, why did you kill Qui-Gon? Like
That's his apprentice. That's his Padawan.
He's a good man. He even says like he could have been a powerful ally. So he's not really happy that a Jedi had to be killed. Number one. And then when Yaddle confronts him, and then, Sidious gives him the chance, prove yourself. And he openly, I feel like he didn't even really hesitate. It was just like, well, I'm in this far. It's time to go ahead. And I don't know if I found it hard to believe he could just strike Yaddle down, because you know what? I have to accept that a little bit, because Anakin magically just strikes Mace Windu down in the kids on the flip of a switch. Like once he makes that decision to be dark. But I don't know, something about Dooku. Anakin was young and very impressionable, whereas Dooku was like a seasoned master. Like I felt
no, you and I are going to disagree on this.
Yeah.
100%.
And then, so I had issues with him so openly killing her. And was Darth Sidious that confident that Dooku was going to do that? Because if Yaddle gets away, his whole operation's up. You know what I mean? They know that the Sith Lord is operating on Coruscant, right? Like Yaddle just has to escape. And she obviously tried to kind of before she faced him. And then on top of it all, I think the biggest thing that sets force is like Yaddle is a member of the Jedi Council, and now she's just magically missing. Like I just feel like,
that's the part that I didn't necessarily love, is there is nothing about the inquiry into Yaddle.
Can you imagine if like Yoda went missing? Like they'd be like, I feel like they would be searching forever. And mind you, again, this fits in timeline we're talking about, right? This is pre-Attack of the Clones, just after Phantom Menace. So there is a 5-6 year period there. Maybe they did search for her for a while, and then obviously she's not brought up. Maybe that time gap is there. But I don't know, just some of those, there's a lot of those are big chess pieces they're moving in a 10-minute short that I just felt could have used more development.
Here's why I don't agree with the Dooku thing. He is obviously disenchanted, right? And what's that?
Disagree with my take, right? Not the actual scene.
I totally disagree with your take. He is seasoned, but he's also disenchanted. The idea of questioning the Jedi Council is not a new thing.
Yeah,
it was done throughout all of the movies, especially those first three. He's seasoned, and why I don't think he hesitates is he's made up his mind. He's not reckless like Anakin. There's no thought afterwards. There's no buyer's remorse. Like he's made the decision that this is the path to order. He sees the corruption in these off-worlds, which is going to happen. And he's made the decision calmly and collectively, which is why I think he was such an incredible Sith Lord. Dooku, in my opinion, is probably the most underrated villain in Star Wars, because he's not radical. He's calm, he's collected, he's calculating, he's 4 steps ahead. Like, I'm a big Dooku fan as a villain. And again, I know I always bring this up because I poke fun at the troll I got online, but there's a part of you that understands where he's coming from. There's a part of you that realizes that there's a portion of his thought process that is not wrong.
No, and you see that in the
not wrong at all.
You see that in the earlier episodes. Now let me reframe something, give it back to you like this.
Okay.
Sidious promised Anakin they could save Padme. That was the hook for Anakin, right? What do you think Dooku's hook was? Like
order.
Yes,
the removal of corruption.
I know, I get all that, but did Dooku think that meant killing Jedi? Do you think he knew it was going to get there?
Because he flat out said, "I don't know why Jedi had to die."
Yeah, because on the spot, Sidious basically says, "This is the way it has to be. You have to make the decision now," and he does. I don't know. That's the part. And again, he becomes a Sith Lord, so like I get it. He's dark. It happens.
And a wicked one.
Yeah,
So
and
good.
like what a brutal kill too. Like just poor little Yaddle on the ground, just fucking
Yaddle.
like the
Yep.
mercy kill. You know what it is. Maybe I think this is what my issue is. It goes back to our original conversation. It's just for all that to play out in less than 10 minutes was probably
Okay. So, but then on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to see a Dooku movie?
I'd love to see more Dooku,
I'd
but I
even let
feel
Ryan Johnson direct it if you wanted to.
oh, that's dangerous. But the problem is though is now that we've got those little snippets, I don't know what else they could really like. They just told all the juiciest parts of Dooku's story, right?
Oh, I don't
The
think
fall.
so. The damage in Dooku to get that twisted is going back a long time. I want to see him as a Padawan. I want to see his past. I want to see where he came from. I want like his saber technique is different than every other Jedi. Where did he learn that from? The way he holds his saber, the shape of his saber. Like I'm a big Dooku guy. Like I want to know everything because he doesn't strike the way other people does. He doesn't present himself with body language the way that a lot of the other Jedis do.
Yeah.
I want more. I want way more Dooku.
Yeah,
Way
no,
more Dooku.
I enjoyed his clips of him as a Jedi. It'd be interesting to see actually his early separatist time, like what he's actually doing.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Yeah,
Let's move on
let's
from
switch
Dooku.
gears. Let's go to
switch it.
Ahsoka. So really, it was just the two.
Mine
characters,
and yours
right?
probably
Dooku and-
favorite Jedi. Is that fair? Do we agree on that? Are we both big Ahsoka fans?
Well, a fan, yes. Is she my favorite? I don't know if she's my favorite.
It's tough for me to like any more than Snips. I love Snips.
The one thing I'll say that was funny, I saw a funny meme about Ahsoka. So the first episode, we kind of get her like origin story, I guess you'd call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not defending or going against Ray with this comment. It was just a funny meme, and it was Ray lifting the rocks and it says Ray lifts rocks with no training. Everyone loses their mind. And then it's like, then it's a picture of Ahsoka like with the saber tooth. And it's just like infant Ahsoka uses beast control and fans rejoice everywhere.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. You know what? See that origin thing for Ahsoka, I thought was great for this format.
Yeah, it's
it was
fair.
something I don't need a season of it. Just show me, a little snippet of her village and her upcoming.
Yep.
I thought that fits this format great.
I have a massive question about the Ahsoka thing. So if you don't cover it, remind me to ask you because there's something that I don't understand at all. There's a moment in this series that I'm like, wait, what?
Okay. So episode 2 of her, we get her training, and like I don't know if we needed that. It was fine.
Okay.
You liked it?
Well, no. I mean, I think this is the episode I have questions on.
Oh, so it jumps to the scene in season 7 of Clone Wars.
That is my question. So she literally goes from training to then Rex walking her into this room. That's not training. Like that is Order 66, right?
Yeah.
And then there's that line of Rex where I hope your training paid off.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know what?
I want to know.
You know what I thought was odd?
And that's the only real time jump. And that's what I thought was so odd. I loved it. Yeah. But of all those 6 episodes, that's the only thing where they relate it to something later.
Yeah. And I know I know they wanted that Rex line for the training part, but like it would have been almost better to jump into the scene, a couple scenes before that when Rex still the chip, when she's on the little hollow table and all the clones have her surrounded blasting her. That is like shot for shot with the training she was actually 100%. Doing. So I felt like it was a little bit of a missed opportunity because they could have tied that in perfectly with that moment. But they chose a different one. But again, in my head, I make the connection, so it's fine.
How much did you love seeing animated Anakin again?
Yeah, and
I love animated Anakin. He's so good.
Did you like animated Obi-Wan mullet?
I can deal with Obi-Wan mullet. I think you rocked it.
I was trying to think back. Did we ever see Obi-Wan rocking a mullet in the Clone Wars?
We did not.
I don't think so. No.
I don't remember ever seeing Obi-Wan rocking a mullet.
So now, you know what? I had this thought. We never ever saw Obi-Wan rocking a mullet, and the mullet Obi-Wan was Attack of the Clones, right? Yeah. And Clone Wars takes place between 2 and 3, and we never see Obi-Wan rocking a mullet. And in that episode when he's rocking a mullet, Anakin and Ahsoka are already master and apprentice. But in the Clone Wars movie, like the animated movie, when they say Anakin, this is your new apprentice, I don't think Obi-Wan has a mullet.
Interesting.
I'll have to go back and check, but I think they retconned the hairstyles there.
Interesting. Yeah, no, it's true. I don't remember that sticking out.
Now we're getting real deep. We're talking hairstyles.
I also find it very interesting with how close I remember Anakin and Ahsoka being. There is a distance between them as Master and Padawan. He's late for training. I don't know. There's a distance. Like he's subconsciously pushing her away. He trains her for a moment that is going to happen that he doesn't even know is going on. Like you can do a massive deep dive into this, but they were so close towards the end.
Yeah.
Again, it leaves me wanting more. I want to know where that changed. I want to know that moment.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, though. In the early seasons, wasn't Anakin, wasn't he actually, like, I don't want to say distance with Snips, but like he was kind of reluctant to have an apprentice, right? It wasn't until
maybe you're right. It's funny. I guess I just remember them so close, right? But you could very well be right.
It's been a while since I watched season 1 or the animated movie when he first got her, but and then we get Ahsoka, post Clone Wars season 7, so post Order 66, and she's hunted down by an Inquisitor. It was all right. I mean, like the Inquisitor looked cool, but like Ahsoka put him in his place very fast.
Big takeaway from that. You look at how much Kanan Jarrus struggled to fight Inquisitors, and it just shows you how absolutely badass Ahsoka Tano is. She went through that thing like a glorified droid.
Yeah.
And even that moment of, could it be? You're supposed to be dead. And he is dispatched quickly. You see entire seasons of an Inquisitor in Rebels. And it just, I think it's important to take note for anybody who watches this, just to show what an incredible Jedi Ahsoka Tano was and what an incredible master Anakin was, because he makes those comments when he's training. He's like, who cares about what all the other Jedis do? If you can dispatch Rex and his men, you can handle anything on the battlefield. And I think that there's a huge talent difference between Ahsoka Tano and everything you see afterwards. And let's be honest, other than what is supposed to be Mace Windu or maybe Dooku, was there a better swordsman? My small gripe, she instantly goes from having 1 to 2 sabers. I don't know about you, but I've always wanted to know the moment visually where she gets the second saber. She goes from trying to fend them all off with 1 saber to instantly lighting that second saber. I wanted to see Anakin throw her the saber or somebody throw her the saber, but she doesn't. I went back and watched it a couple times. It just shows up.
Yeah, so
please,
she gets
somebody do this for me.
No, I'm trying to think in the Clone Wars, because she starts with 1 and goes to 2 in the Clone Wars. So it might just have been
the animated movie.
Over season 1, 2, and 3, I think. I don't think she has 2 sabers right from the get-go. I could be wrong.
Don't remember, but now I want to go back and see it. And admittingly, I've never seen the animated movie.
You haven't?
I have not.
Oh, I watched it in theaters when it came out. I was like, I was so excited for a new Star Wars.
Yeah,
I'm just going to pull up the Clone Wars as we're talking here, just so I could verify if she was rocking. I can't remember.
I always remember her with 2.
Do you think like that Inquisitor, right? Like a lot of Inquisitors, they weren't like the top tier of the Jedi. You know what I mean? Like they had to get these people, break them, stuff like that. And if he knew who Ahsoka Tano was, like
she's a legend. Come on.
Yeah, like he was licking his chops to fight her. Like, wouldn't there be any hesitation there at all? Like being like, oh shit, like this is,
I'm gonna get this handed to me.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
Been saying. Yeah,
like I guess maybe he saw that she was unarmed, right? Maybe he had his chance.
Yeah,
he definitely wanted to prove himself to Vader. That's
They
for
all do.
And like he would have been like a new Inquisitor too. You know what I mean?
It was just
wouldn't
so
have been
good to
around
see
for
her
that
go
long.
through him.
Oh, that was not a good episode to pick for stuff. Yeah. So okay, let's talk about format here while I'm looking around. Do you want to see a season 2 in this type of format?
I'm cool as long as they pick different characters. And if they did, who would you want to see?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I'm just looking at now. Ahsoka's rocking one saber in season
there's a
1.
moment she lights it, right? How does that happen?
Well, no, she gets her. I don't know if we see an episode where she gets her second saber. It just might be transition between seasons. You know what I mean?
I'm
she starts
cool
with one. She goes to 2. She gets her Shoto
see,
saber later on.
I want to see a Mace Windu in season 2.
Yeah, I'd like to see young Mace.
Young Mace.
Yeah.
And no, we already know that backstory.
Yeah, give me any non-mainstream Jedi and I'd be happy. Do you want to see a Tales of the Sith?
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Well, I was actually trying to think of a Sith.
Yeah.
My first thought was the Sith Lord from episode 1. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Maul.
Thank you. But we know that backstory. We saw it in we've seen a lot
of Maul. We know the Night Sisters part.
The
problem, I would love to see Sith stuff, but the problem with the Sith stuff is because we're in the era of the Rule of 2, right?
Yeah.
So we already know Palpatine and Ola's apprentices. So it would have to be Palpatine being the apprentice to Plagueis. Like that's where they'd have to do it.
You couldn't do that in a short. That's a big one.
And I feel like if they do
that should be Rian Johnson's second movie after the Dooku. Yeah.
I could just feel the thumbs down coming.
Right.
Yeah. So you know what, you're totally right. Plagueis, if they ever give us Plagueis, that's not a 10-minute short. That's
Plagueis
not
has to be a movie.
That's not 3 episodes of a 10-minute short.
No.
That has to be its own thing.
I'd love to see a young Mace.
Yeah. I'd like to see any of the young Jedi, like Kanan's master Depa Billaba, like Ayla Secura, like any of them, even we don't know. I think it's in a comic run right now, but we don't know a lot about young Obi-Wan. You know what I mean?
That's a really valid point.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why neither of us thought of that. Yeah, I'll take a young Mace and a young Obi-Wan.
Down with that. And you know what else? I'm also down with some other Luke Skywalker stories set between, say, A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back.
Give me a young Jango Fett.
Yeah. Well, that's not really then it could be like Tales of the Bounty Hunters. Tales from.
I mean,
they had old books like Tales of the Cantina and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but look at his venture into Camino, right? Like you could loop that back in. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but
you could do Tales of the Underworld or something like that.
Yeah,
get some unsavory scoundrel bounty hunter types and give a little more backstory to them.
Little Pizza the Hut backstory.
Yeah. How did Jabba rise to power among the Hutt cartel?
Oh my God, that'd be fucking boring.
What are you talking about? Just eating fucking lizards
crushing pizza
all day.
Yeah.
All right. So that's
so rate it.
Yeah. That's
give me a rating.
You know what?
I know you're going low. I'm thinking you're no higher than 7.7 here.
No, I'm gonna go 7.9 is what I'm at. Like I said, for what it is, I like it. Again, you could probably convince me to love the Dooku, Yaddle, Sidious thing. I'm just, I just feel it needed more fleshing out to really make things make sense. Because again, like I said, High Council Jedi missing. Sidious's plan was like on a whim there, like of Dooku obeying him or not.
Yeah.
Like I would have almost rather, what would have made more sense to me when Yaddle crept in there and said something to Dooku, that Sidious just knocks him out of the way and just electrocutes her and fries her out the door.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
Yeah, I'll give you
just
that.
like, oh, I can't believe like I've got discovered, something like that.
I'm gonna,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna
I'm
go
7-9.
flat 8-1. I'm gonna go
Flat
flat
8-1?
8-1,
Yeah.
and the only reason I'm going over 8 is I was so intrigued about Dooku. Like I
Yeah, and like I say,
legit
I love the
man
earlier
crush
Dooku stuff.
over
Yeah.
Dooku. Yeah,
Yeah.
over Dooku. I can't give it higher than 8-1 because I just want to know how Ahsoka gets her second lightsaber. It's driving me crazy.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah, that does it for us. Let us know in the comments, everyone.
Yeah. Weigh in on this,
Did you
please.
like this? Did you love the Dooku Yaddle Palpatine storyline?
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. I'm curious if you flat out loved it or if you have a couple reservations like myself.
Yeah. Was it a smash or pass, as the kids would say?
Yeah. Or 4 beers in and you're good.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So that does it for us, and we will chat next week for Prison Break. Andor's gonna be all tatted up with the map, how to get out.
Oh my god!
Remember that show?
Take a couple logs off the fire, bud.
Maxie here loved it, so he's in your camp. And again, I did not like it. It's just sometimes I'm just a little, I don't know. I was when I watched it, I could only tell you how I felt in the moment. And that's how I felt.
But it fueled the fire. And this guy, was it Maxie who just weighed in? Like it
Yeah.
fuels the fire. Like it makes you ask more questions. And I think that the more the more the Star Wars property can start us asking questions, the better directed their future movies and campaigns are going to be. Like I'm so pumped about this idea of Dooku. Like give me that backstory. I don't care if it's animated. I don't care if it's a movie. Just give me more of that. I'm so intrigued.
It's funny you say that because one of the newsy or rumory type things out right now is that the reason why Disney hasn't put out like a new movie is because of indecisiveness within Lucasfilm. And essentially they don't know what to do. And I find part of that is because fans shit over everything they put out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, it's funny because, I do think Disney has put out a lot of quality stuff. Andor is being a prime example. I love Rogue One. You and me are different opinions of the sequel trilogy. Mandalorian is awesome. Book of Boba Fett was meh, but I liked some of it. And Obi-Wan, I think we were generally positive, but after seeing Andor, we're like kind of wish that attention was given to that show. But I think overall, the TV slate's good, but like, man, like I don't know, what they're doing as far as the decision making. Like it's weird because you and me kind of talked about this with Andor. Kathleen Kennedy gets a lot of hate, and obviously if this turmoil of like indecision and indecisiveness is true, a lot of that is on her shoulders, but she also took the risk to put out a show that nobody wanted, and it's a huge hit.
Massive.
But I don't know what's going on in there. I'm just bummed that Rogue Squadron is potentially off the calendar. I hope they get their act together and get it going.
Yeah, for sure. It's fair.
Yeah. But like I don't know. They've released enough stuff now to know what people like, I would feel. And like I think they need to take risks because like we said, nobody wanted Andor. And they should just feel like if you have the talent behind the scenes working on it, and that's what it is, really. Tony Gilroy, his brother, and the other screenwriters are like knocking Andor out of the park because of what they've produced, right?
Agreed.
You get the talent, and it should more or less work. So we'll see what they do. They got a lot of pokers in the fire, so to speak. So let's see. Max Year's dropping. He would take a Tales of the Sith or Tales of the Jedi anytime. I agree because
buddy.
We don't know.
Sith.
Like the Sith are still a pretty big mystery. There's not really a lot about it.
Make shit up. Show me the failed apprentices of Sidious. Show me the ones that didn't work out. Show me one that turned light. Show me like there's an entire can of worms that can be opened here.
Yeah. See what's like going on in Sidious's mind too. Like why what's motivating him, what's making him do these decisions, how he selects and finds his potential apprentices. You know what I mean? Like what made him go to, Dathomir and talk to Mother Talzin and get Maul, like how did he know Dooku was the one that was going to fall? Because at that time, he's not Supreme Chancellor yet. Like he's still just a Naboo senator.
Yep.
Right. Like he's not necessarily dealing with the Jedi Order. So like there's a ton of stuff. Like, again, I think little tidbits into Palpatine / Sidious would be cool because I think you could do that in shorts. But I think, as we talked about earlier, if they do get into Plagueis, then that has to be fully fleshed out in a show or something.
Yeah, agreed.
Not shorts.
That's got to be a big one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I gotta go watch the football game. So thanks for watching, everyone. Leave us a comment on what you thought. And Prison Break, Wednesday, 9:00. See you there.
Yep.
Peace out, everyone.